guys, welcome back to Plotting in Pyjamas. So today's book review is on How to Kill Your Family by Bella Mackie. So I'm going to read you the blurb before I get into the review, and then I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one because I have heard such mixed reviews about it, and mine's kind of a bit mixed. So yeah, I'd really like to hear your thoughts. But without further ado, I will read the blurb and then get into it. So, they say you can't choose your family, but you can kill them. Meet Grace Bernard, daughter, sister, serial killer. Grace has lost everything, and she will stop at nothing to get revenge. So, like I said, I've heard really mixed reviews about this one. Originally, all I'd heard were really good reviews, and I was quite excited to read it. I mean, it's a #1 Sunday Times bestseller, so I thought, yeah, it's going to be great. But then I don't know if it's because of the circumstances where I was actually given this book by an old colleague of mine. So, yeah, she gave it to me while we were working together, and she just couldn't finish it. She couldn't get past like the first couple chapters, which I thought was a little strange. But yeah, because we both quite enjoyed light thrillers, we kept talking about that, and she just couldn't get onto it. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll have a go. I will admit, it stayed in my locker for my entire time at that company. I think she gave it to me. Actually, I don't think it stayed in there too long. I think it was like 6 months. Yeah, I think she came back for the summer and had this book in between her first year of uni. Or was it she came back for the summer? No, she didn't come back for the summer, just before she left. But yeah, either way, it stayed in there for about 6 months to a year. Because I was always reading something else at the time. I had it there just in case I finished my book, but I didn't. So I ended up bringing it home and then read it a couple months ago. So yeah, again, it's got mixed reviews on Goodreads. Some rate it like 5 stars, others are rating it 1 or 2 stars. I think I ended up rating it a 3. I still to this day do not really know where I stood with this book. There were times I'd get really into it and be really like, oh yeah, this is great. I'm like focused on this book. And then there are other times I was going, I just can't. I don't know if it's because some of the chapters were 50 odd pages long, which, yeah, that was a slog, I will admit. I can understand why it was set out that way, because obviously all of the information in that chapter was for that chapter and it needed to all be together. But yeah, reading it, knowing you had to get through 50 pages to reach the next chapter. And I will admit, half the time, the chapters weren't the ones I was interested in. But yeah, so it was fine. It was good. I don't know why I said it was fine. It was good. Yeah, so I had a very mixed experience reading this. I really enjoyed parts of it. It was just every so often I'd get out of it and I just couldn't get back into it. It's actually the book that's taken me the longest to read this year, and it's the reason I haven't got all my bookmarks on Goodreads, because I finished it in a month and a day. So my April book was supposed to be this one. I finished it on the 1st of May, which is devastating. But yeah, it's the story's told from Grace's perspective, and it's kind of like you follow her thought process for a lot of it, which I found quite interesting. It's like colloquial. Yeah, it talks a lot in her narrative, her thoughts, the way she'd be saying it as well. So you don't just follow her along as she's killing her family. But you do get to hear like her thoughts, her thought process. She goes off on tangents a lot, which I can relate to, Some of them didn't seem particularly relevant at the time, but yeah, it's an interesting way of doing it, and you learn about her past slowly. You get to learn why she feels she wants to kill her family and all of that. So yeah, Grace is very like meticulous, very planned. She knows what she wants, and she has not strayed from that thought process for years. So originally it was her and her mum. Unfortunately her mum passed, and that is where all these feelings started. So yes, she was raised by her mum for her first few years. They were really poor. Her mum did a lot of odd jobs. Sorry, it is really hot today, and I keep taking loads of water, but talking is drying my throat out, drying my mouth out. Yeah, so you learn a little bit about her life with her mum, but you also learn about her life currently in prison with her cellmate Kelly. I kind of guessed exactly why she was in prison. Yeah, it was a little like, oh, straight away. I mean, you start off with her in a prison cell talking about Kelly and how she's a woman who likes to chat, and yeah, talks about how most people can only know what prison's like from TV, things like that. But she also mentions how she did not commit the crimes she was in prison for, but she had committed others. But obviously you can't use that as an offence. So yeah, it's an interesting opening. And yeah, when she said she'd committed other crimes but not the one she was put away for, I was immediately like, right, I think I know what's going on here. And yeah, I was pretty much proven right, especially when I met certain other characters, and I was like, yeah, I know what's going on here. So yeah, you've got Grace, who is the protagonist. She is very anti her birth father's family, her biological father's family, because they had so much money. They threw her and her mum onto the streets, which is really sad, honestly. Like, no, that's not nice. But yeah, so she goes, the whole book is basically her going through and talking about the murders she's committed. But yes, so like I said, you start with her in prison, and then the first chapter you get to know a bit, like she's going on holiday, she's stepping off a plane, so you're a bit confused like what's going on. But yeah, as the story progresses you slowly get clued into what's going on, why are you doing that, like yeah, you get to learn. So then obviously Grace is the protagonist. You learn about a bit about her mum. Her mum had come across from France to become a model, and obviously passed away, unfortunately. So then you also learn a bit about the family that took her in, her best friend's family. So she doesn't think much of them, I will admit. She's very like, oh yeah, I know who this guy is, like he's my best friend. He is actually the only character she ever lets get close to her. She is not close to anyone else except him, because she doesn't really trust anyone else. But yeah, that's an interesting dynamic. I think it's been played before, but she won't let herself get close to him, and she knows what she's doing. She knows she's manipulating him, and you know it from reading her thoughts as well. But I think he can tell it as well, unfortunately. And yeah, it's a bad situation. Like, yeah, I just no. I don't know if they pitied her. I just this book wasn't one that I really got into properly. Which is a shame. I was talking to one of my friends and she said she loved it, but she'd read it, she'd listened to it, so it was an audiobook. So it might just be that this wasn't the medium for it. There were times when, yes, she's talking and I'm like, oh yeah, I completely agree with that. And other times I was going, what? Yeah. She doesn't like much. Not a lot, really, unfortunately. But yeah, I don't know as I'd automatically recommend this to anyone. Yeah, it was, parts of it were nice and good reads. Like, I really enjoyed, I can't tell you what I enjoyed without ruining it. But I found bits of it to be quite predictable, which, yeah, usually I would be saying, even if it was predictable, I'd be saying, okay, yeah, it's a good read, nice easy read. This one I did not find a nice easy read. Like I said, it was easy in the sense of it was her perspective, so there weren't any like words that I had to go find a dictionary for. But I don't know, I kept falling out of it. And I could be completely wrong, so correct me if I am. And I would love to hear your opinions. It could also have been because I was trying to read it at work, so I kept having to stop midway through chapters. That's another thing with the longer chapters. I don't like them because I have to stop reading through them. I like to finish a chapter before I finish my break, but I can't always do that, and it really annoys me, which is why I actually have to go back to the book I was reading on lunch this time, because I've still got a couple pages left of it. But yeah, so I don't know. I don't really know what else to say about this one. It bugged me sometimes that she'd just go off on a complete tangent and it wouldn't even be relevant. Or she didn't seem like a nice person. I can kind of understand her thought process, but it was very much oh, this has happened to me, so the whole world is like bad. I don't know, maybe I'm just a bit more optimistic in that sense. Harry will be laughing at me, I'm not optimistic. Maybe I just like to see the good in people and she just kept seeing the bad. And I could completely agree with her on some bits, like, yes. But I don't think because one person has wronged you means that you can write off the entire class or the entire everyone who's like that. Well, I'm not explaining this well. Just because one person has wronged you does not mean everyone who has the same amount of money or the same upbringing or background, even if they're from the same family, they're not all going to be like that. I mean, she's justifying things going, oh yeah, well, they wouldn't have been able to do this without that, or like, this is this and this is that. I'm going, that's just, it's a stretch. Yeah, she didn't seem like the kind of person I'd like, so maybe that's it. Maybe I didn't like her as a person. So it was a well thought out character, but yeah, she did seem to have very strong opinions, and not all of them I agreed with, and that could be why I found it so hard to read it. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it there because I'm struggling to think of like proper arguments. I might end up coming back to this, and if I do, I will have different clothes on, probably. I'll probably have a different set of pajamas because, yeah. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. I want to know your comments. And I want to know, did you read it? Did you listen to it via Audible? Is it available on Audible? It must be. Surely. Either way, did you listen to it as an audiobook? Did you read it? How did you read it? And did that affect your enjoyment of it? Maybe it's if it's read as an audiobook, it's better because you don't always know the length of the chapters, and it might sound how it's supposed to. So when you're reading it, you won't always get how the writer intended it. But maybe if you're listening to this one, especially as it's such a close first person where you are basically in her thoughts and following along her train of thought, that might work better for an audiobook than an actual written book. So I would be actually really interested to know if people who read a physical book had a different experience compared to those who visited via audio. That would actually be something really interesting to look into. But yeah, let me know your thoughts and I will see you next time. Thanks. Bye.